The Void Within. Chapter 2. Bloodlines. The Paragon Tower rose like a monolith of shadow and glass, its surface gleaming obsidian in the morning sun. To some, it was just another corporate giant, but to those who knew better, it was a temple, a beacon, a throne. Inside, Cairo Carter sat perfectly still, clutching a thick, leather-bound book embossed with the Paragon crest. 3 serpents intertwined, fangs poised, jaws locked in endless pursuit. He wore a tailored navy jacket, crisp slacks, and polished shoes. At 16, he carried himself like a man twice his age. The private elevator chimed. Ambrosia Creed stepped out, radiant in a floor-length black silk coat, silver curls cascading down her back like storm clouds in motion. Her almond-toned skin was flawless, her eyes unreadable. "My darling boy," she said, her voice a velvet knife. "You wear legacy like a second skin." Cairo grinned and rose to his feet. "I aced the admissions interview. They said I speak like a leader." "Of course you do," Ambrosia replied, smoothing an invisible wrinkle from his sleeve. "Leaders are born, but true paragons are chosen." She led him down a long corridor lined with black glass into her private chamber, polished stone floors, bookshelves that touched the ceiling, and in the center a strange sculpture. 3 serpents coiled around each other, bronze and obsidian fused, twisting in a painful, beautiful knot. "What do you see, Cairo?" she asked. He studied it. Balance, unity, power maybe. Ambrosia smiled, sharp and proud. "Exactly. This is the oldest symbol of our family. It reminds us that power must be protected, and sometimes paid for." She handed him a matte black metal card. One phrase was engraved in silver beneath the crest. Per sanguinem imperium. "What's this mean?" Cairo asked, brow furrowing. "You'll understand one day," she said, brushing a hand over his curls. "For now, just know this means you belong." Omari Road stood in the vast, echoing lobby of Paragon Tower, the embossed envelope still in his hand. Tall, sharp-jawed, with warm brown skin and a neatly groomed beard, he moved like someone who knew how to command space without arrogance. Dressed in a charcoal suit, he looked every inch the man he'd built himself to be, confident, calculated, in control. And yet, he felt it again, that crawling sensation, like someone reading a page he hadn't written yet. The woman who greeted him was statuesque, silver braids cascading down her back, eyes sharp and unreadable. "Mr. Rhodes," she said smoothly, "we've been expecting you." The tour was quick but disorienting. Marble hallways, high-tech offices, glass-walled laboratories, and silent security cameras everywhere. The company felt less like a business and more like a kingdom. Then came the final stop, the executive suite. When the elevator doors opened, she was waiting. Ambrosia Creed. He wasn't sure what he expected. Certainly not a woman whose elegance was so practiced it bordered on myth. She stood with the stillness of a queen. Long silver curls framed her face, almond skin luminous under the soft lights. Her presence was magnetic, powerful, practiced, dangerous. She was stunning, regally so. "Ms. Creed, I presume," Omari said. "Please," she replied with a slow, knowing smile. "Call me Ambrosia." Her handshake was light, but the weight of it sank into his bones. As they ascended together, she watched him, not like a boss, but like a sculptor sizing up raw marble. "You've inherited more than you know," she said. "From whom?" he asked cautiously. She only smiled. "In time." She led him into a modern, glass-walled office with a view that touched the clouds. Minimalist design, no clutter, power in every corner. "Your resume is impressive," Ambrosia said, gesturing for him to sit across from her sleek obsidian desk. "Your discipline, your credentials, your rise through healthcare administration, it's not just admirable, it's rare." Omari sat, posture straight, guarded. "I've worked hard." "Yes," she said, folding her hands with a knowing smile. And we don't just hire talent here, we collect legacies. Omari blinked. Is this a job offer? It's more than that. She leaned in slightly, voice silk and steel. It's an invitation. Invitation to what, exactly? Ambrosia tilted her head. To understand what you were always meant for. We see beyond roles, Omari, beyond positions and titles. You were born for more than administration and efficiency. You were born with purpose in your bones. We simply activate that. He frowned. What does that mean? She stood, walked to a small glass cabinet and pulled out a sealed envelope embossed with a gold serpent. This, she said, handing it to him, is a fast-track placement. Executive liaison to our Special Initiatives Division, full salary, housing allowance, international travel, and direct reporting to me. But more than that, access to everything the Paragon Collective holds sacred: history, science, influence, truth. Omari took the envelope slowly. Why me? Ambrosia smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. Because blood calls to blood, even when it's been kept apart. And because I believe you're ready to step into your inheritance. He hesitated. You keep saying things like that. Legacy, inheritance. What are you really offering me? She walked to the window, gaze fixed on the city below. A chance to matter in a way you've never imagined. To be more than what the world made you. To know your true name, not just the one you were raised with, but the one history wrote before you ever drew breath. Omari stared at the envelope. Something about it pulsed in his hand, like heat, like a whisper. Ambrosia turned back, eyes gleaming. Don't you want to know who you really are? Omari turned the envelope in his hand, the gold serpent catching the light like it was alive. Everything in this place gleamed, too clean, too curated, and yet a part of him stirred, a piece buried deep. I don't know what you think I'm meant for, he said finally, but I came here for a job, not a destiny. Ambrosia's smile curved like a scythe. The beautiful thing is, Omari, sometimes they're the same. She crossed the room again, her heels whispering against the polished floor. Come, she said, her voice light again, as if the conversation hadn't just shifted something tectonic. There's someone I'd like you to meet. Ambrosia led Omari into a lounge wrapped in low light and silence, velvet walls, smoked glass tables. The skyline glittered in the floor-to-ceiling windows like it bowed to this floor alone. A boy sat reading near the window, legs crossed, eyes bright. Something about him, his posture, the focus in his gaze, the way he held the book like it mattered, stopped Omari mid-step. Ambrosia placed a gentle hand on his back. This is Cairo. The boy looked up. Young, maybe 17, sharp features, familiar somehow. Cairo closed his book and stood. You're the new guy. Omari nodded, wary. Something like that. Their eyes met, and something unspoken passed between them, recognition, though impossible. A thread tightening across time, Ambrosia stepped between them, smiling as if she hadn't just engineered fate. You two might find you have more in common than you think. Omari and Cairo both turned to Ambrosia, mirrored expressions of confusion on their faces. Cairo tilted his head. We don't even know each other, grandmother. Ambrosia offered a mysterious smile. Not yet, but it's only a matter of time. Omari looked between them, brow raised. You work here? Internship, special track, Cairo said, standing and offering his hand. Ambrosia says I'm a legacy candidate. Guess that makes us both lucky. Omari took his hand and paused mid-shake. There it was again, that feeling. Not recognition, but resonance. A deep pull, like a bell tolling from somewhere inside his bones. Familiar, but wrong. Ancient, but alive. You're young for this place, Omari said, trying to ground himself. Cairo smirked. Guess they see something in me. Ambrosia stood at a distance, her presence quiet, almost ornamental, but her eyes missed nothing. She watched them like a strategist studying two pieces before a long game. Cairo tapped a sleek black card resting on the table. Know any Latin? Some, Omari replied, cautiously intrigued. Why? Cairo pointed. The gold inscription gleamed under the low light. Per sanguinem imperium. Omari blinked. His fingers hovered above the card as if it might burn him. Through blood, dominion, he translated softly. The words hung in the air like a warning, cloaked in silk. A chill threaded down his spine. Ambrosia's lips curled into the faintest smile, but only when neither of them could see. Then, lightly clapping her hands once, she stepped forward. Come, Omari, let's speak in private. She offered Cairo a warm glance, then turned and led Omari away. The office was nearly silent, save for the hum of the city far below. Floor-to-ceiling glass turned the skyline into a sea of fractured stars. The walls were dark, the air softly perfumed with something floral and earthy, old world, expensive. Ambrosia stood with her back to the view, her silhouette a shadow against the city lights. There's something I must tell you, she said, turning slowly. You are my grandson. The words struck like glass dropped from a great height, delayed impact, then shattered. Omari froze. His mouth opened, but the words stalled. I'm sorry? He asked, as if confirmation might change the answer. Ambrosia stepped closer, calm, precise, her face carefully sculpted into concern. Not maternal exactly, but something adjacent, something practiced. Your mother's name is Vivian, she said. She was just a teenager when she had you. Our family was ambitious, powerful, and often cruel in how we protected our name. You protected the name by giving me away? His voice sharpened. No. Ambrosia's eyes softened with believable sorrow. Vivian did that against my wishes. She believed she was saving you, from us, from the legacy. She ran before I could stop her. She took a breath, just enough to suggest motion, not break composure. She told people you died. I searched for you for 29 years, Omari, and then you walked through my doors. Omari's gaze dropped to the gold serpent seal in his hand. Why tell me now? He asked. Because the time is right, she said softly. The blood calls what it needs when it needs it. And your blood, it's rare. It carries strength, vision. You have a mind that sees order, a heart that seeks truth. You inherited all the best of Vivian. Of Vivian, he repeated, voice caught, somewhere between awe and suspicion. And of me, she said, touching his arm gently. We are not villains, no matter what she told herself. We are survivors, builders, and now you are one of us. Omari turned away, tension flaring in his jaw. The city glittered beyond the glass. His own reflection stared back at him, familiar, but now wrong. Or maybe, finally, true? Vivian is here? He asked. Yes, Ambrosia replied. Still with us, still brilliant, still guarded. But I think she's ready to see you, if you're ready to see her. He said nothing. Ambrosia let the silence fill the space. Then, like a queen sheathing her blade, she stepped back with grace. Sleep on it, she said, voice feather-light. And know this, you weren't cast aside, Omari. You were protected. He didn't answer. Couldn't. Everything he knew had collapsed in the span of a conversation. Logic, identity, memory, all rewritten by a few careful sentences. But one thing was now undeniable. The world he thought he knew had vanished, and this new one, steeped in shadows, secrets, and blood, had only just begun to show itself. The city gleamed through the glass walls like a circuit board of light. Omari stood still, shadows carving the edges of his thoughts, as Ambrosia's words echoed through him. You weren't cast aside, Omari, she had said again. You were protected. He gave her a brief nod, more habit than agreement, then turned toward the hallway. Ambrosia walked with him in silence, their steps absorbed by plush black carpet. As they reached the main elevator, she pressed the button, then rested a hand lightly on his arm. "We'll speak more soon," she said, "when your heart is ready." The elevator chimed. Omari stepped inside without another word. As the doors closed, Ambrosia remained still. The gracious host turned sovereign observer. Her eyes were already elsewhere. Behind her, a figure emerged from the shadows, clad in all black, face obscured by a veil of dark mesh, a watcher. "Send word," Ambrosia said, her tone shifting to command. "Tell her the bloodline has awakened. The first child has returned." The watcher bowed and vanished into the dark. Ambrosia turned her gaze back to the elevator. Her smile faded. "Soon," she murmured, "the family will be whole again." Later that night, Cairo sat on the edge of his bed, the soft buzz of city noise seeping through the cracked window. The glow of his phone pulsed in the dark, message after message blinking across the screen. Most were from his mother, a few from Ambrosia. He hadn't replied to either. Instead, he stared ahead, absently spinning a ring around his finger. His thoughts drifted. Not quite to Omari, not fully, but to the sharp tension that hung in the air when they met. Like two puzzle pieces almost clicking into place, but not quite. What was it about that guy? Why did it feel like looking into a mirror with the wrong reflection? His phone buzzed again. Text message from Sasha. "We're grabbing boba at Marlowe's. Come out. You need to stop brooding." Cairo smirked slightly. Sasha always knew when to check in. He tapped back a quick reply, grabbed his jacket, and headed out. In the lobby, he nodded at the front desk attendant, earbuds already in. City lights spilled through the glass doors, promising noise, movement, normalcy. Outside, the night was alive with the hum of traffic and glowing storefronts. Cairo stepped onto the sidewalk and walked off into the dark. From across the street, a figure shifted in the shadows. Dressed in black, face partially obscured, a silver ring glinted on their gloved finger, a serpent twisted around a bleeding eye. They say nothing, just watched, then turn and disappear into the dark. Thanks for listening. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe.